stage, the 1984 Olympic Games, and is venue now for the second stage, getting behind the previously unknown art form, if you like, of soccer. The Colombians, well, they'll be making only their seconds in the World Cup finals. The last time they qualified was 1962 in Chile, when they went out in the first round. American linesmen get ready to officiate in what will certainly be one of the biggest matches that they will ever have experienced. Oleg Protasov of the Soviet Union, a prolific scorer for club and country, scored 35 goals in a league season for Dynamo Kiev a few years back. And most of this Soviet is based on the highly successful Dynamo Kiev club side, and it's very close to their strongest possible lineup, the lineup which of course took them all the way to the final of the 1988 European Championship. And he actually takes the place in this lineup of probably Colombia's most famous player and their biggest star, Valderrama, absent from this lineup. But otherwise, it's pretty much the team which took Colombia to their only second appearance in the World Cup final. Though the crowd may look a little sparse, it's a huge stadium, this, of course, and really there's quite a volatile public here to watch this match, and I suspect most of them will be behind. The good play there by Guerrero. Cabrera. On the right is Herrera. And now number 10, Redin. Good run by Gomez in the middle. And Redin tried the shot, and back it comes to him again. And another shot rebounds off the Soviet defensive wall. Got a huge roar of delight. Herrera. And still, this is a fine run by Herrera. Danger. Chanov reacted to very quickly. Rodionov now. Good ball for Litovchenko, and that's a fine ball down the right. Now there's plenty in the middle here, and it's a good little ball, and Rodionov gets on the end of it, and that could have been a goal easily. Igita did well. And the Soviets might well have taken the years. You may remember in 1988 they went over to Great Britain to play in the Rouse Cup, where they played both England and Scotland and drew with both of them, as Igita proves the point I was making. Protasov couldn't quite make the room for himself, but he's done pretty well here. Oh, and Rodionov was screaming for the ball to be played, but he never quite... Kuznetsov. Zigmantovic. And here he is again, Igita, coming far out of his area to head the ball clear, and he could be in trouble if he's here. Rodionov realised that, but couldn't deliver an accurate enough chip. Litovchenko forward. That's a great ball by Litovchenko, turned on by Cherenkov, and a rather wild clearance, and Igita had to come and claim it again, and did well. Litovchenko couldn't keep it in. Gomez with the throw. Mendoza. Back it comes to the Soviets. Nice little ball in field, and good play here by Cherenkov. Oh, he might have... Then he decided to be unselfish and turn it back, but played it actually in behind Rodionov and Protasov, and suddenly the Colombians get a break at the other end. Well read by Luzny, the culprit, headed away by Perea. Rodionov dispossessed, but the Soviets win it back. Rodionov, and a useful little ball for Litovchenko, but got that all wrong really. Gennady Litovchenko, former Soviet Footballer of the Year. win the ball back now with Cabrera. That's a good ball as well. Played in behind Cabrera. Well, had it been played, Alvarez. Guerrero did well to make the space, and it's a decent effort. The first Colombian shot of any real note. On target, but also straight at goalkeeper Victor Chanov. And Iggita again. And the fullback making a strong and determined run, and has ensured that the throw has gone to the Soviet Union. And Luzny gets it back again. And the referee's given a foul. Felt he might really have let ball could bounce certainly and crack straight in the back of, I think it's Protasov. It is. And both players got injured. Well, Protasov doesn't look too keen to continue here. Very important man he's going to be in the Soviet challenge for the World Cup. And Alvarez, equally so, I would think, for the Colombians. Flavia. And, well, who knows, if they could get a draw out of at least one of those, they could go through. But I guess you'd have to say the West Germans and the Yugoslavs would be favourites to qualify from Group D. Well, it's pretty neat and attractive football from Colombia here, but it certainly lacks sting. And that shot was always way off. And there's Valery Lobanovsky, the head coach, the rather studious, somber figure. Cameroon, the African group. There won't be any easy points in that group. Danger here now as Rincon peeled himself away, given away. Guerrero does well here. Crowd wanting him to go all the way. He thought about it and finally gets the shot in of the game. They're all, including the experienced Kuznetsov, the number 13, but the shot wasn't good enough. Gets it back again. Good play by Rincon. Obstruction at the very least. In fact, it may well be a direct free kick. The referee hasn't raised his arm, so I suspect this will be a direct free kick in a good position here, and it was clearly a foul. Well, the crowd given away to Gomez. Rincon, that's a good little ball forward. Gomez with the shot. Well, had he tried to put it back to his teammate on the far post, Gildardo Gomez might have found himself the hero rather than the villain of the piece then. Rincon forcing the ball through. Gomez shot. It was... Let's see if the Colombians can make rather more of this free kick than the previous one. Rincon in the middle again. Driven in and punched clear by Igita. And the long-range shot could have gone anywhere and still could. Back it comes to Rats, in fact. Headed away by Pereira. And Alvarez, who thought about letting the ball run to his goalkeeper, thought better of it, and now turns it back to him. Good play by Lionel Alvarez, and an injury here. And it looks like a pretty bad injury by Gomez. Rincon helps him out. Manredin. Crowd love that. But again, the cross at the end of it was rather poor. Colombians obviously enjoy a little bit of magic on the ball, but at the end of it all, shirts and white shorts have made one substitution during the half-time interval. You may remember Bessonov, the experienced veteran international. Had a short spell then in Europe, playing for Espanyol in Spain before going back to the Soviet Union. Decent free kick and a good effort as well by Protasov. Igita right behind it though. Full atmosphere the Colombians play their football in. There have been allegations that Colombian club sides have been involved in whoops, a mistake there by Igita, so hold on for a moment. There's the rather wild shot by Cherenkov. Placed the ball boys rather in more danger than the goal. Mistake by Igita really, which led to that opening. Should have picked that one up with ease and flapped at it. Cherenkov was so surprised, I just couldn't keep his shot down. Well by the Soviet skipper Kuznetsov, but back it comes now to Cabrera. Well, that's good play by the number 9 Iguaran. Alvarez gives it away to Rodionov. And helped back by Tishenko to his goalkeeper. There was a bit of an overlapping run here by Luzny. And he did well to keep it in play. Clever little ball. Litovchenko. And then, it was just a bit too far ahead of Protasov. No problem really for Igita. Herrera. Well done. And suddenly Rodionov in the clear. And Rodionov might well have given the Soviets the lead then. Yaremchuk, the number 9, had done well in the opening stages of that move to win the ball back. And that was a lovely little ball by Yaremchuk. Just helped on by Protasov. Rodionov had a sight of goal, kept his shot low but wide. So in the early stages of both the first and second half, Sergei Rodionov has had the arguably best chances of the game in which to open the scoring. Luzny. Surely offside. Well, astonishing. It wasn't given, and the goalkeeper came out and could pay the price. No, he's all right. The defender back to help out. Well, a little bizarre period of play. And finally, the spectacular Rene Higuita gets away with it again. Although, to be fair to him on that occasion, he had to come all the way from his goal, otherwise surely a goal. Difficult in-swinger. Higuita had a bit of trouble dealing with it. Goal kick. Gomez. And that was a foul, no question, by the substitute, I think, wasn't it? Tishenko, yes. And indeed, he's going to be cautioned for that. So one player from each team shown the yellow card. But Igita does invite that kind of opportunism. Now this could be dangerous. And suddenly Iguaran has a chance to score. And well, one of the oldest and most experienced players in the Colombian team, Arnaldo Iguaran, who scored no fewer than 4 of their 6 goals, remember, in the qualifying competition in the World Cup. Really could have done a lot better then. And from whichever angle you see this, as the defender slipped to allow Iguaran in, he got into a good position, but the shot at the end of it was not too clever. And the Soviet Union back in possession with Yaremchuk. But suddenly it's Rincon breaking down the right for Colombia. Big, strong player. He really forced his way through then. And the crowd loved that little goal by Iguaran. With the ball out of play. Rodionov with a header, and then it comes to Protasov. Good challenge though. This is Protasov for the Soviets. 4 defenders around him, and he still managed to make the cross. And Igita just palmed it clear. Gone back well by Zigmantovic for the Soviets. Yaremchuk forcing it through to Rodionov. And the long-range effort was never really going to bother Igita. Rodionov's not really been too sharp today. Again by Herrera. But the Soviets pressing up more on Colombia. That was a clumsy sort of clearance. Oops. Goalkeeper came, thought about it and changed his mind. But he does seem to get away with things, Igita. Protasov with the final effort. Would be numbered in that kind of description, of course. Here's Yaremchuk. That's a foul. And having said that about Colombia, they have proved themselves to be inconsistent. There was another international tournament, you may remember, recently in Miami, and that time the Colombians lost 2-0 to Uruguay and only managed to beat the United States on penalties. As we see Herrera's foul on Yaremchuk again. Rats with the free kick. Well, take your pick. There was at least 4 players in an offside position. Certainly the Soviets weren't too intelligent then. And it looks as though both teams are about to make a substitution now. Valdez, nearest to the camera, Luis Valdez. And I think the other Soviet substitute was Tatarchuk. And Yaremchuk's the man coming off, and indeed it is Tatarchuk, wearing number 12, who will place. Luis Valdez will be coming on for the Colombians. Vladimir Tatarchuk. Colombians don't seem to have decided yet who's coming off. Now they have. It's an all for Herrera. Cabrera. Given away. Ooh, and that's a foul, certainly. Cabrera, in his attempts to win the ball back, went in very high. Ooh, that was a terrific save by Igita. It really was. Well, he may do the unusual and at times the downright foolish, but when it came to a real round effort, Igita proved himself more than equal. Igita, most confusingly, using a whistle. Well, it fell very invitingly for Cherenkov. Good run by the substitute, and he fouled Cabrera when he knew that he'd lost possession. And then another foul on Rincon. Cabrera trying to indicate to the referee that it would have been better from the point of view of the Colombians if he'd just let play go on then. But Rats had already made the tackle, and as you can see, he becomes the player in the match to be cautioned for that challenge. So 2 cautions. Here's Pereira. What a terrible ball, straight to Tatarchuk, and a useful one for Rodionov to chase here. And still Rodionov, and he's done well. And so is the goalkeeper. Well, certainly Igita was a better goalkeeper than you sometimes might imagine from his antics, and he proved it then. But Rodionov probably should have scored. But here's Rincon. Good little ball as well for Guerrero. And still Guerrero. Oh, and Chanov had a lot of trouble dealing with that. And suddenly... Good football as well. And back it goes to that man, Rodionov again. And again, Igita doing the unusual. That was a clumsy ball. Guerrero did well. And Igoran just had the ball taken off his toes by Luzny. He wants it back and gets it back. Now Rodionov. Time for handball then by Herrera. Not given. Would love to see Rincon score here, but he hits it straight at the wall. And Chanov quite equal to the danger. Litovchenko forward. Now Igita again takes a risk and again gets away with it. Rodionov, good skill. Good ball as well. And Igita knew exactly where that was going and knew it was going wide from Tishin. Chanov, who's the number 14, is a useful penalty taker. Perhaps the Soviets are making sure they've got a good spot kick player on. Luzny coming off, he doesn't look to be injured. It would seem rather late in the game to make a tactical substitute. Thumped forward by Herrera. And there indeed is the final whistle from referee. And if there's no conclusion at the end of those 5 per team, then it will be sudden death. And indeed, the Soviets have opted, by the looks of it, to defend for the first penalty. Viktor Chanov takes his place in goal, and I wonder what the erratic and at last the ball hits the back of the net, and that's 1-0 to Colombia. And hit with real authority by Mendoza. To the goalkeeper's right, high into the net. World Cup qualifying tournament for them. And a really experienced goal scorer. This will no fears for him. And duly dispatched into an almost identical place. 1-1 on penalties. Must be a huge relief when you've taken your penalty and it's safely in the net. And he sent Igita the wrong way. 2-1 to Colombia. For Guerrero. And that's a great penalty, right in the corner. International caps to his credit, and was actually top goal scorer in the Soviet World Cup qualifiers with 3 goals. Oh, but he's missed it, and that what? Litovchenko hit that with no authority at all, side-footed, and he could pat the ball away, Igita. Not a good penalty at all. And that would favour the lobby who think you should power penalties rather than try and place them. So it's still... With both teams having had 2 penalties each now. This could be important. and blasted home for 3-1. Well, that puts a lot of pressure now on the next Soviet penalty taker. Rodionov against Igita. Oh, and high into the net. That's a superb penalty for 3-2. Well, Rodionov did the business when it mattered in the shootout, even if he didn't score from one or two good openings in the match. Oh, it was saved by Chanov, so it's still 3-2. The first miss by a Colombian player, Wilmer Cabrera. That was a good save, actually, because it was reasonably well hit. He didn't really power it, but it was quite accurately placed towards the corner. And Chanov palmed it clear. So Colombia leading 3-2 now on penalties. And the substitute, the man who we believe might have come on just to take this penalty, Kolizionov. Oh, well, if he did, it wasn't exactly the greatest technical move by the Soviets, because he's missed it. Kolizionov misses it. That's the second miss from the spot, and that means it's still 3-2, and by my calculations that means that the next penalty for Colombia could decide this match. Because this one could give them an unbeatable 4-2. Who's taking it? René Higuita, the goalkeeper. Well, he will really savour this moment if he can score against his opposite number, Viktor Chanov. And he has taken penalties before. Yes, he's done it. Igita has scored the vital penalty, and that means that Colombia have beaten the Soviet Union in the penalty shootout. And the goalkeeper, who's done so much to keep his side alive with a few very good saves, has actually clinched it from the spot. 4-2 on penalties.